Hello, everybody. Welcome. Wrestling with the Future is live and on the air. We are broadcasting on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and around the world. I am the Mad Dog, at it once again, joined by this week with a new moniker. Check this one out, folks. Amelia, living La Vida Loca Chapman. How you doing, Amelia?
Hey, how
Very
are
cool.
you?
Oh man, we got a great show tonight. Great show. I was getting a little worried, to be honest with you. My dear friend, it's been a long time since I've seen Nickla Roberts.
I
And,
know. Whose
long
fault is that?
overdue.
Whose
Man,
fault is that?
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, sweetheart. I love you.
I
I'm back. Listen,
figured you hooked up with some girl and just left us for a while.
no,
Went undercover.
You know what happened? I'll be honest with you. I'll shoot straight with you. I got too big from my britches. I was getting like crazy, ridiculous guests, and I forgot where I came from for a couple of minutes.
Oh wow, okay.
But yeah, but I got humbled. You know, life has a way of humbling you, and so does this business. Absolutely. And so let me formally introduce you. She is a woman referred to as America's Perfect 10. Certainly in the eyes of Tully Blanchard, she was. So was the Payday, as a matter of fact, a Perfect 10. Nickla Roberts, Baby Doll, is back for her 5th appearance on our show.
Wow.
And yes, and she keeps coming back because she loves us more than anybody else. And I don't care what Hannibal says. Now, Nickla, welcome back, sweetheart. Nickla,
Glad to be back. Thank you.
I want to introduce you to my very first female co-host in the history of the show. This is Amelia Chapman. We call her Living La Vida Loca. And she is a girl right after your own heart. She is from Lubbock, Texas.
Odessa,
Texas.
Well, it's like 100 miles south of us, so we're good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
She's more like down where Wahoo is. Wahoo's from Midland, so she's closer to where Wahoo is from.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's funny you mentioned Wahoo. Karen was here 2 weeks ago with John Cosper. And I don't know if you noticed, but I'm the guy that hooked them up for the book.
That's awesome. I'm so happy for her because I know for as long as I've known her, and especially since Wahoo passed away, she's wanted to do a book and like her memories and how she saw it. And because I mean, she saw more than any of us. So definitely super. I love Karen to death. I've known her since 1985.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, Karen is one of my favorite people. I have a couple of people, and I'm not shy about telling people who I like and who I don't like. Number one on the list is Nickla Roberts.
Okay.
I'm shooting straight with you. Nickla Roberts, Barbara Goodish, Karen McDaniel.
Wow.
And
trifecta. And hat trick right there, brother.
Carol Snooker, number 4, and the widow of the late Butch Reed. Wonderful lady. Good people. We were actually going to have Butch. He passed away a week before his appearance on our show.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
Yeah,
but he was a good guy. Good guy.
Yeah, he sure was. I did have the opportunity, though, Nickla, to talk to him on the phone a little bit that night, and we arranged, to have him come on and everything. But then he passed away. Well, listen, before we talk about wrestling and all that crazy world, how you doing? Let's talk about the person. How's Nickla Roberts? I'm
doing really well so far. I'm like one of the few people I know that I haven't had COVID, haven't been vaccinated. So I'm just I've got super immunity, which knock on wood. I don't want to jinx myself, but so far I've done like several fan fests and big shows and everything, and traveled everywhere. So far I'm good. I've been doing quite a few shows, which is amazing. I love it, and I love seeing the fans. I love getting out.
Does that surprise you that you're still in demand?
Absolutely. Because it's been so long ago, and there's so many females out there now, and everyone says like wrestling is dead and wrestling's dying and the whole thing. But then when you go to Fan Fest and you see all the new fans and you see literally 300 people paying $100 to get an autograph and a picture with Lita,
is that
amazing
crazy
to me. And I love it. I love it.
It's
Absolutely.
nuts. It's funny. You know, I had this conversation with Eddie Mansfield. The wrestling business may very well be dying, but the wrestling fan business is at the peak of its game right now.
It's done a complete 180. Yeah, a complete. 30 years ago, we would have never thought of doing fan fests or doing like virtual interviews like this.
Yeah.
We're doing virtual signings where, like with Captain Nick and D'Amato, Team Art Productions, and some of the people I've worked with.
Oh, sure.
Doing like the virtual signings where you sign the autograph and they mail it to them. That just, the marketing just amazes me. And I love it. Like how many people are making money off from all of us.
Yeah.
How knowledgeable the fans are.
Yeah.
And that how diverse the audience is. We were sitting in Baltimore and I'm sitting with my daughter and we're like looking at the crowd in front of us. And I was just like, I could only pick maybe 10 people out of this whole audience that I would choose, that I would say that's a wrestling fan. The rest of them I would have never guessed would be standing in line to get
it's crazy. It really is bizarre. It's
love it. Absolutely love
it. I'll tell you what, there was a time that that getting close to a wrestler would have been taboo. You wouldn't have been allowed.
Oh no, yeah.
Now it's encouraged. They, they put your arms around you, you pose together, the whole bit,
Right.
It's got to be almost surreal in some bizarre way that you're not only are you still in demand, but the younger generation is watching you on the old videos, on the old tapes. Thank God for YouTube.
Everyone kind of disses like Vince and Stephanie and Hunter. But I have to wholeheartedly thank them for like putting the whole libraries out there, especially like with Crockett and Mid-South and the whole thing, because if they just tucked it away or no one bought it and it just disappeared or whatever, no one would have seen it. And now, 30, 40, 50 years later, people are getting to see a lot of really, really good wrestling, and it's different from what it is today. And I even, for the first time, I guess it was about a year or two ago, I saw my mom wrestle for the first time. They had some videos from Chicago, and I'd never seen my mom wrestle. And I actually got to, there's 4 matches on YouTube that I got to see.
Can I tell you something? I watched your mom and dad wrestle today.
Oh, wow.
I found film of your father.
Right.
I found film of your father. I don't know. It looked like it might have been, oh my God, I want to say Kansas City, because there was a sign in the background that said Kansas City Milling or something like that.
Right.
In the background. So I'm just assuming it was Kansas City.
There's a good chance because he wrestled all over from like I think he started like 1952, 53, something like that. Yeah. Until like the mid 70s he wrestled. So yeah, it could have been him.
Yeah. And for sure, watching your mom, a beautiful young woman in a day when beautiful young women didn't wrestle, they were home making cookies. Right. But not Lorraine Johnson. Lorraine Johnson was out kicking ass.
Well, like in the 50s, when you think of the 50s, women this was the first time that they were really getting out into the job market. They were having jobs. It was the first time that women actually had money of their own. And my mom had her own car. She traveled throughout the world, especially across the United States. She really was a trailblazer when you think about it, like the things that she did back in the 50s, when it was looked down upon that women would travel and have money and nice luggage and really nice clothes and be able to take care of themselves. It was absolutely unheard of.
Absolutely. Oh my God.
And she wrestled in a bathing suit. That was
yes. Thank you. And a very nice bathing suit, by the way.
She used to win
Vince McMahon a few minutes ago. Vince McMahon and his videotape library. I'm
Mhm.
thankful as well to Vince because
Yeah.
were it not for that library, you and I are not having this conversation
Oh,
today.
probably not.
Mm-mm.
No,
Yeah,
no,
Mm-mm.
there's
absolutely
a
not.
very good chance that you and I not only probably would we not have met, but we certainly for sure would not be having this conversation.
Right. And there
Um,
would be the fan fest and the
oh my,
autograph
yeah,
signings and nothing. It just we
Mm-mm.
would have been another page in the book is all it would have been.
Mhm.
absolutely. I'll tell you what, as much as people love to see my face and hear my voice, because I am the Golden Pipes, they also want to hear from Amelia, living La Vida Loca Chapman. So you are up, kid. You've got
Hi.
baby doll.
Oh yeah. Are you sure I can interrupt you?
Oh, don't be a smart ass.
Oh yeah. You see what I had to deal
You have
with
to
every
just you
week,
just have to start talking. That's all. He'll stop.
right?
Yeah, she knows me. This
Yeah.
woman knows me. Just
Hmm.
talk. I'll shut up.
Now,
You sure?
Amelia, you've got Whataburgers there. I am so jealous of you. So,
I
so
know.
jealous. You have
Well,
Taco
they
Villas and
I love
Whataburgers.
Taco Villas. Remember those? I miss those so much. Well, actually, I'm in Florida now. I live in Florida
Okay.
actually now. But
Well, see, but you still have Whataburgers though. There's a couple of Whataburgers in Florida.
oh, I miss
Oh yeah.
those so much. I was like, oh. But first of all, I wanted to say happy belated birthday. I did wish you a happy birthday on my
Thank you.
wall and on
Thank
Geno
you.
Forever. And you look great for your age, 21, by the way.
Oh, no, I just really and truly, I had an
Uh-huh.
awesome birthday. It was my
Yes.
60th birthday. My
Hmm.
youngest daughter, Michaela,
Hmm.
took Ryder and I to a zoo. It's a Zootastic,
Awesome.
which is right outside of Charlotte. I got
Hmm.
the sloth experience. I got to hold
Oh,
a sloth named Willow. And
oh,
then I also got to hold a spider monkey. Oh, I
oh.
can't remember the spider monkey's name, but yeah, we
Um,
got to hold them, and then we got to see all the animals, and they
Hmm.
had so many. It was like cougars and tigers and otters, and the coolest was a little sloth bear. The sloth bear was hilarious.
Oh.
It was feeding time. They were feeding some of the I want to say they're sergays. They're like a small it almost
Hmm.
looks like a small cougar.
Hmm.
They had tabby tigers, which is a tiger with orange and white stripes
Those
instead of
are
the black and
cute.
white stripes. And they had the a liger, which is a cross
Hmm.
between a lion and a tiger. And they
Hmm.
had the black leopards. Oh my gosh, it was so cool. It was
back
just
Oh.
a
up.
birthday.
I got to get in on this one. A liger? What the
Yes,
hell
Oh.
is a liger?
it's a cross between a lion and a
Lion
tiger.
and tiger.
Really? Like it's a real
Yes,
Hmm.
a thing, a real
Yeah.
it's a
thing?
real thing.
Yes.
It's a real
Uh-huh.
thing.
No shit.
Yeah.
And they're
That.
huge. They are so
Hmm.
beautiful and they're huge. And
Wow.
yeah, they're just, it's
Hmm.
amazing. It was a really, really good birthday. Real good
Hmm.
birthday.
Go
Yeah.
ahead, Amelia. Sorry I interrupted you. I
And they're
hardly ever
so,
do that.
and the baby tigers are so cute. They look like little kittens. You want to just, they
Oh
cuddle up to
yeah.
you. I've held them. They're
They
so
had two
adorable.
baby tigers and
Hmm.
baby hyena together.
Yeah. They are
They had some
so
small ones.
cute.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
I've held one before and they just cuddle up right to you just like a little
Oh
baby. And they just
yeah.
like, they hear your heartbeat just like a little mama would, and I
Oh,
thought
that's
that was
so
just the cutest
cool.
thing. I know. It's like, oh, like you just want to cuddle. But yeah, I just
You
wanted
know
to wish
what?
you a
With
happy
this
birthday.
happy stuff, you're making me crazy over here.
Hey, us girls are talking. Would you be quiet?
Oh,
See?
listen to you. So, have you missed me, kid?
Yes, we missed you.
There you go.
Oh,
I was wondering where you were. I was wondering what happened to you because all of a sudden there was
No.
Angelo, and then all of a sudden there was no
yeah.
more Angelo, and I was wondering what
Yeah.
happened to you.
Oh
I
man,
kept
it's
telling them to
what
bring you on
happened
the
was
show.
the show was
Hmm.
blowing up like crazy. That's
Yeah,
what happened.
Well,
Like
that's good though.
straight, yeah,
yeah.
straight shoot.
Hmm.
Honestly.
I kept asking him to
Um,
bring you on the show because I kept wanting to tell him I want to meet you. I want to meet you. I want to meet you. Didn't I not tell you that?
yes.
Yes.
He said,
I said
I
I
don't
want to
care what
meet
you
her
do. I
so
just want to
badly.
meet Nickla Roberts.
Yeah, that's it. So he asked me
Okay,
who do you want
you
on the
got it.
show, and I said Nickla Roberts. Nickla Roberts. Because
So,
you could.
Amelia, did you go
Yes,
to
ma'am.
wrestling there in Odessa?
Yes, I did. Every 2 weeks. And just like you, I had the biggest crush on Geno. Oh yes, who wouldn't, right?
Oh
Right,
Lord,
right.
Yep.
here
And
we
I
go.
know that you were studying to be an EMT, and
Yes.
I heard that you were that it was an addition to be his valet. I said, I would go for it too. I said I would have done the same thing. Say forget
Yeah.
school, I'm gonna be a valet. Oh yes.
Oh yeah. It was one of those situations where you sit your parents down and go, I'm quitting school and I'm moving to Dallas and I'm moving to yeah, it was a difficult discussion, but it's just one of those if I wanted to do it, I had to just
Nickla,
go right into it.
how much convincing did you have to do with Lorraine and Nick to really like win them over, even though you probably knew in their heart they're going to say yeah, but did they make you work it?
Well, in 1985, when all this, well, actually, it was 84. Whenever I went to Dallas, I was 22 years old. I was grown. You're grown up by the time you're 22. You should be able to make your decisions.
Yeah.
And it was one of those, one of those discussions where you kind of go, "This is what I'm going to do. This is my plan. If it doesn't work out, I can always come back. If it does work out, then I can always come back." That was a whole deal of like, no matter what happens, I can always go back to school. I can always come back to Lubbock. I'm not going to do anything that's going to cut any ties, or I'm not going to embarrass anybody. It's something that I wanted to do. And even like as a small kid, like watching wrestling and everything on TV, my parents were like, "Why are you watching wrestling?" Because I always loved it. I loved it so much. I was so blessed to be in a family with wrestlers that it was just like the next step, I guess. And then
How
no one
old
really
were
knew what
you?
was.
Now, I was going to ask you, how old were you when you realized what mom and dad did for a living?
Oh, I was really young. Because my parents, we had wrestling every Wednesday on at the Fair Park Coliseum. So my dad promoted, like from my playpen was in the back room. So I grew up in wrestling. I knew what my parents did.
Wow.
My mom had like one of her old suitcases that had a couple of pictures, and it had a couple of her wrestling outfits and some really nice of the 50s high platform shoes and just like really fancy. And I get to go through a suitcase every once in a while. And then my dad still wrestled some on the weekends. He'd still go to like Clovis and El Paso and different places whenever I was really young, because he was like still in like his early 30s. So from the time I was an infant, I knew what my parents did.
One of the things that you and I never talked about, and I want to talk about it now. You've been at this a long time. You've been in this business a very long time. Was there ever a time during your journey that you decided maybe, or thought about maybe walking away? Did you ever give that serious consideration?
Well, I did whenever Sam and I broke up, and I had Micah was like 2 and Michaela was on the way, and it was at that point that it was I could either be a really good mom or I could be a shitty mom and still be a wrestler.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to be a really good mom. I always wanted to be the Sunny Delight mom. I wanted to be if there was anything I wanted to do in my life, I wanted to be a good mom.
Well,
and so I think whenever my kids were born, I decided that I was going to walk away, at that point. And then it was really funny. I was working for AT&T in a call center. I was doing customer service and technical stuff with cell phones.
Yeah.
And so like this was when cell phones first started out. So this was like late, like 1990s, early 2000s. And I was working for a call center. I was working overnight so that if you bought a new phone and you needed to program it or get more minutes, or remember when you could only get like 15 text messages in 30 minutes?
God, yeah.
That's whenever I was working with it.
Yeah, I worked at the one in Midland, Texas. Yep.
I know. I worked at Convergence up in Lubbock. So Rob Feinstein just happened. I forget what it was, but I was working on his phone, and I think he recognized my name or something. But we started talking, and then he contacted me to do one of his videos.
Yeah.
And it started from there that I did the video for him. That I did a show in Tampa. And then I did the Maryland Fan Fest for Greg Price, the NWA Legends, and it all started again. And it's funny because this part of my career has been longer than the very first part of my career. Because whenever I
was
worked with Crockett and them, it was only like 2, maybe 3 years. And now
Yeah.
I've been making appearances since 2004, like really regular. So almost 20 years I've been.
Well,
Like,
yeah, and I
regular.
wanted to, we were going to talk about that too, because that is absolutely true, and I'm glad you brought it up. Your career in earnest is longer now than when you were actively involved in
Right.
matches and angles for sure.
Right, because Dallas, I worked from Labor Day, which would have been September. So September, October, 4 months for WCW.
Right.
And that was really cool because I did like Reunion Arena. I had the Cotton Bowl.
Right.
Dallas, it was great. Dallas was awesome because we did some really, really big shows. And then whenever I started with Crockett, that was January of '85. And I worked with them until September of '86. So that's like 2 years. That's all that I really had. And then I had 2 months with Zbyszko.
Yeah.
And then that was it. So yeah, I got a lot done in a very short amount of time.
You sure did. And all those people that you mentioned are to this day still very dear friends of mine.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, good people too. I love Larry. Larry's just. I go to
Larry's a classic.
I go to Larry Land about once a week.
Do you
I love
the Force Factor, the commercial that's got Larry Elder and Joe Piscopo on there talking about like the vitamins that make them. Joe Piscopo in that commercial reminds me so much of Larry Zbyszko when he goes up and down stairs with wistful abandon or something. That is Larry Zbyszko right there.
Absolutely. I can't deny it, and I won't argue the point. You're absolutely right. I want to take a couple of minutes here and bring it down memory lane a little bit. Let's take a look at some stuff.
Okay.
We're going to take a look at this. You might want, maybe you want to put your glasses on for this one.
I can't see otherwise. Oh, Dallas, the Omni. I actually met the night that picture was taken with Dusty. I met Hank Aaron.
Oh, I love that haircut.
For
Look at
real?
that.
Okay. Tully Blanchard.
Right.
My
daughter had those pants for the longest time.
They tell me that Tully isn't far removed from the character he plays.
Oh no, Tully! What you see on TV, that's Tully. Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty much what they said.
The picture on my knees there, the fan fest that I was at this past weekend, I got berated by a lady who came up and said, "Why are you on your knees? Why are you subservient to him? Why are you posed like that?" And I thought to myself, I did that for a reason, because I wanted, to show that I was subservient and I'm down and, I'm his, personal 10 and the whole thing.
Yeah.
So 35 years later, I was still getting heat for the picture.
That's how you know that what you did worked.
Right.
That's how you know that you're working it. There's Tully again.
Oh, the infamous bow ties. Everybody loves a bow tie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That pink bow tie. There you go. More Tully.
Oh, that's in Philadelphia there.
An interesting on-camera relationship. Here we go. Now,
I love that picture.
I have to tell you in full disclosure, Amelia is president of the Geno Hernandez fan club.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that.
And she has a legit Geno tribute page on Facebook. So
yeah, well, she's
I think I'm a member of one of them.
Yes.
I'm a member of either one or both of them.
Geno forever, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Geno
I learned so much. The Dark Side of the Ring. Oh my gosh, I learned so much from that low 2-hour, 1 hour production that they did.
Yeah,
I had no idea he was married. I had no idea he had children. Oh my gosh, I learned so much. So much.
Yeah,
well, I'll tell you
there's
something.
There's 2 episodes of did you see the second one?
I have not seen. No, I have not seen the
2 parts. Yeah, there's 2 parts.
Yeah, I just saw the first part.
I love that look.
That was interesting. Because we talked about Geno on the show a few weeks ago, and I actually, for the first time in public, named the person who killed him. and I got a little bit of slack for that. For I guess doing what the right thing. But you know what? I don't care.
Right.
It's out there. It's a matter of public record. So if people want to look it up, go for it. But Geno was an interesting kind of guy.
That smile.
They tell me that Geno was incredibly divisive. You either loved him or you hated him. There was no middle ground with Geno. And a lot like Ric Flair, he lived the gimmick. Is that true?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And I think he lived like 2 or 3 different lives. Because he had like the life of the wrestler, you had the life of like the playboy gambler, and then you had the family man. So there was like 3 separate and totally distinct lifestyles that he lived.
Yeah,
it was crazy. The more I learned about him, the more I was
That's
like,
the playboy
and
right
what's
there.
crazy was I was there for 4 months and he hid everything. So he was very good at what he did.
Oh yes.
And they tell me that the boys often had heat with him.
You often have heat with people that are better with you or better than you are because there's jealousy. There's also getting pushes. There was also the rumor that like Paul Bosch was his dad and the whole thing, and he was getting pushed because of Paul Bosch and the whole thing. And if Geno really wanted to be a superstar in the business, he could have easily left Texas and been a star anywhere in the United States at that time. But because of Texas, and I don't know why he wouldn't want to go, but maybe he had other things going on that he just never left Texas. He was never comfortable.
I will tell you what I know factually. The story was told actually on this show by Davey O'Hannon, a WWE journeyman.
Right.
Geno did, in fact, go to New York. He did wrestle for the Worldwide Wrestling Federation back in the day. He went into the dressing room with the belt on, the North American title around his waist with his suit.
Okay.
Big mistake because the first person that he met, was a guy named San Martino.
Right.
Okay. Who also had some other kind of strap around his waist.
Right.
Okay? So Geno didn't make friends in New York quickly at all. In fact, Johnny Rhodes, the unpredictable Johnny Rhodes, it is said and confirmed on the show, refused to put him over. So Geno had one match, lasted about 8 minutes, and he went back to Detroit for the Sheik, and the Sheik sent him back to Texas.
Right.
That's absolutely true. We know that factually. You're up here on the screen, Nickla, with a couple of guys who I know well. They spent 2 days at my house.
Oh, goodness. Yeah.
Eating and drinking and smoking cigarettes like chimneys. Ricky and Robert, Hooch. I love Hooch and Ricky. They're great guys. What do you want to say about the Rock and Roll Express that hasn't already been said?
Oh my gosh. I work a lot with them. I've been very blessed to work several times a year in their corner, and it's cool because every time I'm at the show with them, they ask for me to go out to the ring with them, whether I'm scheduled to or not.
Yeah.
I work harder during a Rock and Roll Express match than I do in a 2-hour workout at the gym, because from the time you leave the dressing room to the time you go back is constantly working with the crowd and getting the crowd up and rock and roll and clapping and pounding the mat and the whole, it's definitely, and even after 40 years in the business, Ricky and Robert are still hot. I mean, they've got NWA Power going on. They were just doing AEW.
Yeah.
They are all over the United States every weekend. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's two of the best guys you'd ever know.
It really is nice to see them finally getting some acclaim for their work, because they certainly did not get it financially. I know Ricky and Robert told me, and then they've talked about this publicly as well, so I'm not telling tales out of school here.
Right.
The best year they ever had as a team was $175,000. And back in the day when guys were making $300,000-$400,000, that was kind of a slap in the face to these kids.
Well, when you look at it though, and I kind of have to go from a promoter's perspective on this.
Yeah.
You look at the match and who's involved in the match. So if you've got Ricky and Robert against Midnight Express, you're paying 5 guys. True, and not 2 guys like you would have like with Tully against Magnum.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's I didn't think about it that way, but you're absolutely right. Let's see. I believe there's a gentleman named Dusty Rhodes up on the camera right now.
Yeah, this was the picture that's on there now is at New Orleans at the Superdome when he revealed that he was a world heavyweight champion. Oh, there's Bobby. Yeah. Oh, God rest his soul.
The late Bobby.
He was a good guy.
Yep. There's my friend Larry. Oh,
yep. That was at the
Larry. Larry will be joining us probably in 3 weeks.
All right. There's my dad.
There's
the picture with Larry was at the Meadowlands. Yep, that's my dad.
Yep, sure is.
The Beau Brummel of the ring.
We got Mom around here somewhere. There she. Hello there.
Oh wow, she's beautiful.
You don't look like your mother, do you?
She used to win Marilyn Monroe lookalike contest, which is really cool.
Wow.
I'll tell you, and it's easy to see why.
Right.
Absolutely.
So athletic, so pretty.
Oh.
Okay. I need some help from someone. Can someone please help me change that Wikipedia picture? I hate it. That's a that's a picture that's on my Wikipedia. I hate it, and I can't figure out how to change it. I was so tired.
Amelia,
this was after like a 3-day fan fest, and I was so tired, and I'm getting ready to go home, and I'm not really dressed, and I don't know how to change a picture on my Wikipedia. So if anyone's out there that can help me with that, hit me up on my Facebook Messenger.
I think we could take care of that for you.
Okay.
I think there's a way to change it. Yeah.
I don't think that's a problem. We could do that for you.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's
see. If someone could do that, I would be so happy.
Yeah. No, well, you don't like that photo?
No. It's not baby doll. It's like I'm sitting at the movies.
Oh, that's your beautiful daughter.
There's my girl. There's Samantha.
Beautiful.
Now this is Samantha Starr.
Right.
Samantha, I should say, has been a guest on the show before with Baby Doll.
Right. And I'm working a show with her March the 13th for Revolution Wrestling.
Oh, promote it.
She's wrestling, and I'm going to be working with Jimmy Valiant. Ricky Morton's on the card. Barbarian. It's going to be good.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Boogie,
March the 13th.
Boogie. Will you do me a favor when you see Boogie? Tell him Angelo say hi.
I will.
He mentioned me in his book.
Oh, wow.
I'm in his book called Mercy Daddy. The Jimmy Valiant story. Yeah, I sure am. Yeah, Jimmy. I know Jimmy for 35, 36 years now. There's Sam, a very young Sam Houston, who, by the way, 4 times on the show with Sam Houston here. Great guy. How long were you guys together? How long were you and Sam together?
We first started dating in 80. Well, it would have been 85, July of 85, and then we got married July of 86, and then we divorced in February of 94. So 9 years, something like that.
So what was the driving force that was it hard to work in the business with him? 2 people in the same business, was that difficult?
No, because we understood. That's one of the reasons I think why we hit it off so well. Oh, and that's a picture in Joplin, Missouri, with my oldest daughter, Micah. We would go to the pool all the time in Joplin. So yeah, that's in Joplin.
Yeah.
That's like 2002. Sam and I hit it off because, like, his dad was a wrestler, my dad was a wrestler. We grew up in the wrestling business. Dusty actually made me ride with Sam during the 30 days when he had won me for the 30 days after the Great American Bash.
Right. Yes.
Dusty had the 2-seater car and Magnum had the 2-seater Porsche. So there was no room for Baby Doll. So I needed to ride to those shows, and Dusty didn't want me going by myself. So he had me ride with Sam. Well, we started talking, and both, I think he was like 2 years younger, not quite 2 years younger than I was. Right. And we smoked pot and drank and had a good time, and we hit it off. And a year later we got married, and then in 91 had my first daughter, and 92 had Michaela. But I think that he had to grow up whenever we had kids, because he knew that I wasn't going to wrestle anymore, and I wasn't going to be part of the business and the whole thing. It was really going to be dependent on him. And it a lot was he had to grow up a lot. So he started cheating on me, and I wasn't going to put up with it. So I left him and eventually divorced him.
Which
is really funny, because his current wife now, which she's a sweetheart, she's very nice, and I wish them all the happiness in the world.
Right.
But it's really strange when you say something like it's relationships that's 30 years in the making, and my daughter is 29 years old. So you're just telling me right there that you cheated on me when I was pregnant.
Exactly.
Oh no.
Yeah, they can't add or something. So it's kind of like, oh.
Now,
well, and it's bad for my kids, because my kids kind of, realize that, well, wait, I'm 29 and she's saying that they've been together for 30 years. Mom, they cheated on us.
If the math doesn't add up, then there's a problem in everything.
Oh, it does add up, and it's not in their favor.
The guy up on the screen right now that is revered by some, regarded as a genius by others. Certainly, he is a legend, no matter what you think of him.
Oh, but absolutely.
Again, a man that is, in his lifetime, was very divisive. You either loved the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, or you had an issue with him.
He made me a legend. He made me a star. I have nothing but good things to say about Dusty.
And that's exactly right. And I know about that. So talk to me about the impact of his presence in your life and on your career.
If it wasn't for Dusty and Tully and the like minds and the genius of the two working together, because with me in Tully's corner, it gave Dusty so much fuel for his imagination and so many angles and so many ways to twist it around that it was a blessing. And it was also such a good time to be in that spot, because yes, I could be ridiculed. Yes, I could be made fun of. I could be the Jezebel. I could be the sweetheart, the whole gamut of it, of whatever Dusty wanted, I could be. And he let that come out. And it also, with Tully being there, it also kept it grounded to where it didn't fly out the handle and become ridiculous. I didn't have more heat than Tully. Tully didn't have more heat than I did. We all worked together, and for a year, we worked a solid program. And I loved working Dusty. It whether I was in his corner or across the ring from him with Tully, it was easy, and I learned so much. It was amazing, and I was so blessed.
Nickla, were you there when Dusty cut that famous Hard Times promo? Were you in the studio?
Yeah.
You were there?
Yes.
Okay. And this still that we're looking at is from the Hard Times promo.
Right, because that was when Arn and them had gone after his leg, and they were trying to take him out of the business. If I remember.
And I've got a question about that. I am told from two different sources. One, that it was scripted, that he knew he was going to say. The other one said Dusty rolled off the cuff and it just came out.
Dusty, for as long as I knew him, and especially like whenever I was in the business, nothing was scripted. We basically knew the town we were going to, who was on the card and who to push. Yeah. And the rest of it was up to us. There was no, like with WWE now, that they script everything and you have to say everything word for word, just like with the matches and the whole thing. Back then, it was nothing like that. We would have laughed at them. We would have told them, like, get the F out of here if someone tried to tell us what to say, because it was our time to be creative and time to be heels and get people to come to the show, and it was up to us.
We need that now. That's what's missing. We need that now.
Yeah. We need more spontaneity because now everything is so scripted and
Oh my
so,
God, yeah.
Step by step, and it's so choreographed that they're not listening to the crowd and what the crowd wants. And no one, I don't want to say that they know how to work, that they don't know how to work, but because there are some really good wrestlers out there that listen and listen, because you've got to listen to the crowd. Otherwise, why are you there? And I think with COVID, it really hurt because a lot of people weren't working in front of crowds. They were just doing like TV matches without crowds, and it hurt. It really did. It was awful.
Yeah.
And hopefully now we'll get into some more, the business changes all the time, whether you like it or not, it's going to change. And right now, I mean, there's so many places for guys to go, so many places for guys and girls to make money and be successful. And the main thing is get out there, get in the ring and work and practice and learn your craft, learn the dance.
There was some controversy some time ago about remarks that you allegedly made regarding this young, I have to say young lady, Nyla Rose.
Right.
Was there something that you said taken out of context, or did they take offense to what you said regarding Nyla?
I've never said anything against Nyla. I have the utmost sincere respect for Nyla. I just met her 2 weeks ago in Baltimore. To get into the ring and take the criticism that Nyla has taken and to still get in there.
Yeah.
Man, so much gumption, so much fortitude, so much love for the sport, can be such a good heel. I was watching some of the matches and they were so critical of every little detail. I'm going, I don't care how strong you are. If someone jumps off the top rope and you catch them, and a female wrestler, 130, 160, 180 pounds, you're catching that takes a lot of strength no matter who you are. And Nyla does it, and she's the whole thing started out is I am against males competing against females in athletic competitions. Females should not be forced to compete against males in athletics such as swimming, track, wrestling, the whole thing. Women like myself have fought for so long. I was an athlete in junior high, high school. I set my high school discus record. I love athletics, and we had the Title IX where it would give like females the same amount of money as the males, but it never quite worked out that way.
Right. Yeah.
So from the start of whenever I was an athlete, we were always pushed off to the side. Like we weren't sincere about it. We're just in it to see the guys. We're not real athletes, the whole thing. So when you're forcing females to compete against males, it's so degrading. And I don't know why coaches aren't standing up for the female athletes and saying that we cannot do this. It's not fair, and we shouldn't do that. It's just, that's my whole thing. And Nyla is an amazing athlete, but wrestling is not a competitive sport. So it's not the same thing. No. It's just not the same thing. Right. And wrestling has always been, everybody says that, I don't want to say everybody, but a lot of people have said that wrestling is not encompassing, that we don't accept everyone. That's a lie, because wrestling has always accepted the freaks and the geeks and the nerds and everyone that never fit in. We accept you because we like the characters, and we like what we can create.
I got news for you, Nickla. If it wasn't for the geeks and the freaks and the oddballs, there wouldn't be professional wrestling.
No, I mean, look at how that, like with women wrestlers and midgets and the whole thing, like in the 50s and 60s, they were giving female jobs that couldn't work anywhere else, but they could get in there and wrestle and make like really, really good money. Oh, there's my son-in-law. There's Dustin Bosworth.
Yep.
The carb killer.
Look, I had to have family hour with you. Okay?
Right.
The Nates.
And that was in Richmond. That's in the famous brick wall in the Richmond College. Oh, Escobar. My husband hates that picture. Oh, God.
I was going to say, what's the story behind this photo?
we were as Chris Escobar had a party up in Virginia, and it was just kind of one of those like funny haha pictures.
Yeah. Except Chad doesn't.
Haha, funny.
Yeah, Chad doesn't think it's so haha.
Well, this was like 10 years before I even met Chad, so that's ASW for Gary Damron. Oh.
And last but not least.
Yeah, Southwest Pro Wrestling, yes.
Yep. And so your career comes full circle, young lady.
Oh, yes.
You went to a little bit too fast, but I was going to ask you about that envelope that was in front of Dusty. What was in that envelope?
Oh, I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. Everybody wants to know what was in the envelope.
Right. It's so crazy because I really don't know where they were going to go with Angle. I have no idea. I had heard some rumors, like what they were kind of thinking of, but I'm not really sure. And then I guess they'd gotten upset that I had gone to a couple of shows with the WWE to go see Sam. Actually, it was WWF then. Yeah. And I'd taken a couple of days off, and on my days off, I went up to go see Sam. And I want to say it was in Ohio or something, but I can't remember exactly the days. And the Crockett office got mad that I went up there. Well, then when we did the deal where I handed Dusty the envelope to let him know that I knew and I was going to get him, and I was supposed to give him the kiss, and it was supposed to be like the kiss of death.
Yeah.
And I can't remember them describing like how they wanted the kiss or anything like that, but I guess it was supposed to be longer than what I just kissed him. But whenever I did the kiss, I had just got married to Sam.
Yeah.
Dusty was married to Michelle. He had just had Cody. I think Teal was either there or on the way. So he had babies coming. I thought it was very disrespectful for me to, like actually like kiss him, like Magnum kissed me before the Starcade thing. And I thought more of the, I got you, was much more devastating than to like really kiss him and the whole thing, because that would have been sloppy.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess like the length of the kiss is what got me fired. But no, the envelope, I actually have the envelope, and I had asked Dusty a while back, like, what should I tell people? Like, I've got the envelope, like, what do I tell them? People are asking. He said, never tell them. He said, once you tell them, they'll never ask you again. He said, Babydoll, don't you ever tell them what's in that envelope. And so I never have. And I actually still have the envelope of what they gave me with the Crockett office to carry.
That is so funny. Everybody wants to know what's in that fucking envelope.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead, Amelia. You're up, kid.
Well, I just, it's been a pleasure to meet you finally, because I've been wanting to meet you forever. And then ever since I could remember, but see, back in the day, I could not get World Class Championship Wrestling channel in Odessa for some reason. And so my dad's cousin would record the matches for us.
Right.
So we would watch them every Saturday. We'd go to his house, and they were like, why are you rooting for Geno? He's a bad guy with Nicholas. I said, I don't care. I like them. He goes, well, that's a bad guy. I said, I don't care. I like Nickla, and I want to see her. Well, and I said, well, I think
thank you. Thank you so much.
And I said, well, you're welcome. And she's like, well, she's beautiful, and I want to be like her. And I was like, well, why? I said, because she's the best lady wrestler I've ever seen. and so I want to be like her one day, but I'm 5'2", so I'm short. But of course, I never was a wrestler, but I just loved your moves, and I did not like Sunshine. I said, oh, go ahead, beat her up. Yes, go ahead, do that. I mean, I was yelling at the TV like everybody else,
You didn't like Sunshine? Who didn't like Sunshine? Come on.
I know you're like the first.
Me. I did not, for some reason, because she was always like, oh, boo-hoo, crying, I'm like, come on, please, somebody beat her up, please. And then
then she was with the Heels though for a lot, like she was with the Freebirds for the longest time. So she did really well.
Yeah,
I saw she was so drunk one time. I saw her walk out of her shoes. The poor girl. She. Oh my Lord, she was.
But it was so funny when you came along, and I was like, yes, you get her, But I love the way you dressed, your makeup and your hair, and I was like, finally somebody's gonna come. And you were just there, and I was like, you know what? She's gonna be good. I know she's gonna be doing great. And here you are. And I've been
Well,
wanting to
thank
meet you
you.
like
Thank you. That's
forever.
a very nice compliment. Thank you.
I
You're
got a
welcome.
question for you about Texas promotions. You know,
Mhm.
Texas at one time had 7 full-time promotions. It could have
Yeah.
been its own
Mhm.
territory. And in fact,
Oh,
it
yeah.
Yes,
was for a while.
it
Uh,
was for a long
yeah.
time.
So here's the question I've got.
Mhm.
As far as like the players in Texas, you had the
Mhm.
Funks,
Mhm.
Fritz, Joe
Yes.
Blanchard, Gory Guerrero,
Mhm.
Paul
and
Bosch.
Paul Bosch,
Mhm.
of course. Um, why did everybody, for whatever reason, and I don't, this is why I'm asking you, why did everybody end up gravitating toward Dallas? What was it about that Dallas territory that was magnetic?
Hmm.
Everybody
Probably
made
world
their way
class
to Dallas.
championship wrestling. Probably a lot of big people went from there.
Probably the population. You know,
Mhm.
because you've got Dallas, Fort Worth, then you've got like
Mhm.
Tyler, Denton.
Mhm.
You're so concentrated there that if you're in
Mhm.
Dallas, you don't have to make such long trips as like
Right,
with
Mhm.
Houston. You know, like
Mhm.
Houston only ran on like Fridays. You know, so that
Mhm.
was one. And then like with San
right.
Antonio, it was smaller. So I think
Yes.
just the
Mhm.
the money, and then Fritz was the first one to actually put his wrestling show up on the satellite. So
Yes.
that world
Uh-huh.
True.
class was actually
Yeah.
world class before anyone
Mhm.
else was. It was actually like a worldwide production before
Yeah.
Mhm.
anyone else. So
Mhm.
probably like the notoriety and getting your
Mhm.
your name out there, because once you worked Dallas and got on the satellite, then you could go anywhere
Mhm.
in the world and work. That would
Mhm.
be my guess.
Amazing.
Right.
That's remarkable. I was thinking
Mhm.
about that, and I thought to just today. In fact, I was watching a lot of Texas wrestling, you know, in
Mhm.
in preparation for this interview, and I thought to myself, then you had Dallas, Amarillo,
Right. El
oh,
Paso,
oh,
San
Mhm.
Antonio, Houston.
I'm
San
sorry.
Antonio. You had
Mhm.
Houston, Paul Bosch. You had all of these, like, you know, meccas, like mini meccas, if you will, of
Mhm.
Right.
wrestling. But everybody, for whatever reason, they all made their way to Dallas. You
Right.
know,
Mhm.
Paul
Yeah, I
Bosch
would say it would
had,
be because of the TV. The TV, because
Mhm.
once you got on the
yeah,
satellite, then that would open yourself up to go anywhere. Because see, people were still working territories back then.
yeah,
Because you had
Mhm.
like
true,
Portland, you
yeah,
had California, you had Minnesota, Kansas
Mhm.
City, and once you got on the satellite, then that took you up to a different level. Because then you could
Mhm.
go into like Kansas City or Minnesota, and people would
Mhm.
already know who you were. Well, if
Mhm.
you worked San Antonio, only
yeah.
the people in San Antonio knew who you were.
Mhm.
Nickla, before you ended up going to Atlanta,
Mhm.
did you work a certain loop in the Southwest area, in the Texas area? Was there a loop that you guys did weekly or monthly? Do you remember what it might have
Well,
been?
like Fort Worth was on Monday nights and
Mhm.
Dallas was on Fridays,
Fridays.
and
Yes.
kind of like everything else was kind of sprinkled around. I don't remember anyone else having like specific
Right.
night. Like
Were
San
there like
Antonio
spot
was Sunday
shows,
night.
kind of
Yeah,
spot shows, a
a lot of spot shows.
lot of
Yes.
spot shows?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then besides the television, of course, Fritz had the satellite. And by the way, if people don't know this, the
Mhm.
people responsible for getting Fritz that satellite
Mhm.
was a religious channel called TBN. People don't
Mhm.
remember that. It's true. Check it out. But how important, Nickla, was? Oh, we lost Nickla's volume.
A volume again.
Yeah, yeah, um, yeah, Nickla, we lost your volume a little bit. Oh, now we lost it completely. Oh wow,
Uh-oh.
Amelia,
Yes.
I have a beautiful lady here with no voice. Oh man. Um,
Uh-oh.
let's see. We're trying to get her back. Hold on, folks. We're trying to get her back. Hang in there with us. Hang in there with us. She can still hear us? Okay, so listen. Here's what we're gonna do, because we're up at an hour and 5 minutes. Nickla, can you join us again in a couple of weeks? Because this is just a great conversation.
Yes.
Can you join us for like a part 2? Beautiful. Thank you so much. Because
it was such a pleasure to meet you.
I know I love this woman. She's been here. This is her 5th time. We're going to have her back for a 6th time. She's going to beat her own record. Absolutely. So listen, darling, you don't have to say anything because I can't hear you anyway. But just sit back and listen for a minute.
Yes.
We adore you here. You are welcome back anytime. I will hit you up on Facebook, and we will arrange to get you back here for part 2. I want everybody to acknowledge she is the perfect 10, the one and only baby doll. That she's shaking her head. No, yes, you are.
Yes, she is.
Absolutely. And we will have her back in a couple of weeks for you. Till we do, Nickla Roberts, thank you, my dear. And I will say goodnight to you and take care.
And if you're ever in Tampa, can you let me know if you're ever in Tampa so I can come see you? Thank you.
Beautiful. Take care.
I love you.
Bye-bye.
I love you.
Wow. And right at the end of the interview, too, we lost her audio.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'm glad it waited to the end of the show to screw up.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
so
it was
what
awesome.
Do you think? Did Papa Bear deliver or what?
I loved it. I loved
you
it.
You had a chance to find out what was in the envelope. She ain't telling.
Yes. She's not telling, not for a while.
Yep.
Not
Now,
for a long time.
Were you disappointed with the answers about Geno?
No, I think I wanted this to be about her for right now. Because I wanted to get to know her personally. And then I think we'll talk later, maybe part 2. I think we should.
Think when we bring her back.
Yes, it'll be more about that.
Talk more about. Yeah, you know what? We could delve deeper if you want.
Yeah.
We could delve deeper into the Geno question and what happened or what didn't happen, and because she's been very open about talking about it clearly.
Yeah, because I wanted this to be about her. I didn't want it to be about her and then get to him. I wanted it to be about more her, so I could get to know her personally and tell her how I feel and tell her thank you for what she's brought to my life and
absolutely
her,
sure.
And I wanted that to be about that first, not just say hi really and
important. I'm glad that we had her on. She has been so gracious.
Oh, she's a lovely person.
Yeah, amazing. She's a hell of a storyteller too. She really is.
Oh, she is.
Tomorrow night we have we're going to be here again. We have a special show. You see on the screen here the greatest African American wrestlers of all time.
And I remember him, Booker T.
Yeah, this is a sneak peek. You remember who this guy is?
The Rock, my sister's favorite,
and just became some kind of movie actor.
My sister's favorite wrestler, right there.
Yeah, this guy Dwayne, somebody I don't know.
Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, and of course everybody's favorite Abdullah the Butcher. But yeah, we're going to be here tomorrow night with and that was just a sneak peek of tomorrow. We're going to be here with my friend Nicky Brezhnikov, the author of When It Was Real, an amazing book. If you don't have it, what are you waiting for? Go buy it. It's on Amazon. It's on Crowbar Press. It's When It Was Real, co-authored by Scott Teal, another friend of the show. And I'll tell you what, Nicky is a walking encyclopedia of wrestling knowledge. This guy's been around. Talk about super fan. You think I'm a super fan? Wait till you meet Nikita Brezhnikov. Wait till you meet Nicky. He's a great guy. And he will be with us tomorrow night to talk about the greatest African-American wrestlers of all time. And that was just a sneak peek. I don't want to give too much away, Amelia.
Right.
So, you enjoyed yourself tonight.
I did. I loved it. It was a great show.
You got to talk a little Texas, a little taco corner or whatever the hell the place.
Oh, the Taco Villa is so much better than Taco Bell.
There you go.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Stop talking about tacos. You'll make me hungry. All right. Well, listen, we had a hell of a show tonight, and I want to say, if you guys like what you see, let us know.
Yes,
If you want to
please.
see anybody on the show that we have not had, it's easy enough. Just hit up that email address, wrestlingwiththefuture at gmail.com. Where is it? Here it is. Hot damn.
Yes.
There it is. And also, if you have something to promote, you want to come on the show and promote it, you're always welcome. Just hit me up. Let me know what you want to talk about, and we'll center the show around you. You have a show coming up. You have an event, a fan fest, autograph signing you want to talk about. Come on the show. We'll talk about it. We'll make you feel like $1 million, and we'll only charge you $100. No, I'm kidding. We'll charge nobody. So that's where we can be reached. Amelia, where can you be reached for the fans who want to reach you?
My email is aachap, CHAP70 @gmail.com.
There you go. There you go. And I can be reached at maddog@gmail.com. I can also be reached at wrestlingwiththefuture @gmail.com. And other than that, you can't reach me. No, you can find me on Facebook. Find me on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. We are on at Wrestling with the Future on Instagram. And God, where else? I mean, we're kind of everywhere where you can find us. We're there. Did I?
Absolutely.
Do you realize what I just said? Everywhere you can find us, we're there. Only I could come up with a gem like that, and I like it. It's an original. On behalf of Amelia Living La Vida Loca Chapman, I'm Mad Dog DeCipio. Take care, everybody. Good night.
Good